Hi, everyone, and welcome. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Taylor Brewster. I am the Partner Marketing Manager here at HR for Health. Before we dive into today's presentation, I want to take a moment to introduce someone that you may already know from TikTok or Instagram. This is Dr. Ben Winters, also known as the Bentist. He is the world's #1 online healthcare influencer, and we're thrilled to have him with us today. He's going to share insights not just as a content creator, but also as a successful practice owner and leader in the dental space. So today's webinar is a part of our ongoing collaboration with Optimized Practice Alliance, one of our partners here at HR for Health. They are a network dedicated to helping practices grow by connecting them with the right tools and expertise. Through this partnership, we're working together to bring you smarter strategies for building stronger teams and thriving practices. Also, at the end of this webinar today, Dr. Winters is going to be giving out a special discount to help you not only succeed in your practice, but also take the course and learn a little bit more from him. And this is an exclusive offer to today's registrants. So with that, Dr. Winters, the Bentist, I'll let you take it from here.
Well, hello everyone. Good to see you. Early morning. All right, we're in the middle of the afternoon. We're good. We're good now. Nice to meet all you guys. As you guys know, I'm Dr. Winters, also known as the Bentist on social media. You may have seen me around or on some different videos on your social media feed over the years, but it wasn't always that way. And so I kind of put this together here for you to see, and I think it'd be fun to kind of go through it and just kind of talk to you guys a little bit about the algorithm, about social media, about my journey, and about how it can really relate to you as a dentist, orthodontist, or even just a professional in general with a business. So basically, we got social media mastery for the modern dentist, and as you can tell right now, I believe these are our current, maybe a little bit behind, but we have 15.3 million followers on TikTok, 7.8 something now on YouTube, and 1.2 on Instagram. So it's been a little bit, and I've been doing this for a while, but I believe we have over 25 million plus followers on some other pages too. So with everything together, we kind of know what we're doing here. So basically, who am I? Well, I'm an Oklahoma boy from a small town called Poto, Oklahoma, really small town in southeast Oklahoma. Graduated with about 100 people. How I made it to the big city, I don't know, just luck, I guess. But I'm here now. So I did go to the University of Oklahoma for undergraduate dental and orthodontic residency. My whole family pretty much went to University of Oklahoma. I actually got into MIT and ended up turning it down because I wanted to hang out with my friends in Oklahoma. So that's how much I love OU right there. So I'm currently practicing orthodontics in Plano, Texas. And, even though it's on there, I always, I feel like I'm patting myself on the back. But yes, I am the largest dental creator in the world with over 20 million followers across socials. And we do about 3.5 billion views a year across all socials. We do about 2 billion on YouTube, 1 billion on TikTok, and about half a billion on Instagram. And that's not even including, we forgot to add in too, I have a Snapchat show, and that has over 1 million followers and all that type of stuff as well, which is really, really cool. My journey, but quickly because it's a long one, but I want to make sure it's, in the essence of time for you guys. As you guys can see here, I was one of the very first TikTok ambassadors in the world, and we'll get that here. And I even have gotten to meet countless, numerous celebrities. You see me with Marshmallow over here, but it didn't always start that way. So where it started was basically I came out of residency, looking for a job like everybody else does, and I found a group who had just bought a bunch of practices called Arkansas Dentistry and Braces from a guy named Benjamin Burris. You may know who he is, you may not know who he is. A little bit of a controversial fella, but he ended up having to sell all of his offices really quickly. West Rock Orthodontics swooped him up and said, Dr. Winters, I see you're coming out of residency. I would love for you to work with us on these offices. We know nothing about them, but we're going to go in there. We're going to turn them around. And if you can show us that you're going to turn them around, then we'll let you do the same thing in Oklahoma and start all these practices. So I said, great, I need a job. So go ahead and sign me up. So I hop in, our car, and we head down to Fayetteville, Arkansas, actually. And, Fayetteville, Rogers, Salem Springs, Bentonville. My first office was actually in Bentonville, Arkansas. And I show up on my first day, and I'm looking around and I'm starting to see my patients, fresh, doughy eyed resident from orthodontics residency. And I start looking at these patients and I'm like, that's a little weird. This is pretty tough case for the first one that I see. Patient was missing, premolars and had a weird bite. And I looked and he was like 3 years in treatment. And I was like, oh my gosh, well, I would do this, I would do this, I would do this. And then all of a sudden I sit down at my next patient and it's the same thing. And then I sit down on the next patient. And this had been basically, this office had been made into this massive kind of churning mill of corporatization, you'd say. We are seeing over 150 patients a day. Almost every single patient had something wrong with them. Wrong extractions. They tried to do a jaw surgery when they weren't supposed to do jaw surgery. They were in treatment for 5+ years, almost on average between these patients. And I really quickly knew something was very, very wrong. And so I called up the owner, who was an amazing person, and they came and they stayed with me for a week. And kind of he thought that I was just, a new guy on the block. Oh, I'll help you. I can understand it's a little tough your first week out of school. He sits down and all of a sudden I see him turn white. And then he sees a couple more and he comes back to me. He's like, yeah, there's something going on. So basically, turns out that the old orthodontist was actually clinically blind and he could not see anything. And he was just putting patients off and he was doing, whatever he wanted to and just kind of saying, hey, power chain and see him back in 10 weeks. And that went on and on and on. And then apparently the person before him was an orthodontist who just didn't quite know what she was doing and just was pulling teeth in the wrong directions and all this. So basically, it was a big, big mess. And so what am I there for do? I'm there to clean it up. So I go to clean this mess up and I'm doing debonds all day and I'm talking to all these patients. And, luckily all the patients were really happy to see me. In fact, they were just happy somebody was trying to actually help them for once. And so once we started cleaning up the patients, I said, we got to get new patients in here because all of these are old patients. We hadn't been getting any new patients. So I start to call some dentists around. I'm saying, hey, do you want to go for lunch? Do you want to go for lunch? And all of a sudden I'm getting hangups on. People are cussing me out. Really intense stuff. And I was like, what the heck is going on? Well, it turns out the previous owner had written a letter to everybody telling everybody, screw you, we don't need you, we're going to be our own dental offices and we're going to take all your patients. And basically he did do all that. And so every dentist in the entire area did not want to refer to me. They wouldn't even touch me with a 10-foot pole. Even if we were a totally different company, we cleaned everything up. And even the dinners that I did get received to was just to cuss at me in person until they found out that I was not the guy that they were talking about and it was a whole new group of people and all this type of stuff. And then at the end they very nicely said, thank you for telling me the details, we're still not going to refer to you, but I appreciate you letting me know. And so I was really backed into a corner here because I told these guys I could do this, I could turn this office around. And now I lost the only way that I knew in dentistry how to get new patients, which is via dental referrals. And so luckily, in my past, I was actually a bodybuilder. I know I don't look like it, but I used to be a fitness instructor and a bodybuilder. And I actually had done social media for a while. I had 40 or 50,000 followers on an Instagram page for a fitness account that I was running. So I kind of knew about social media. And so I said, well, if the patients don't like us and they're not going to do referrals because they've had a terrible experience, the dentist is not going to give us any referrals. The only hope I have is social media at this time. And so I said, okay, I guess I'm going to make an Instagram page or something. Now, the old school way of doing Instagram was very, very difficult because the algorithms were basically like you have to be famous or you have to pay, or if you don't. If you had one follower, the maximum amount of likes you will ever get is one like. If you had 100 likes or 100 followers, the maximum amount of likes you could get is 100 likes. And that's how it worked. You tried to gain followers so that they could therefore like your posts. And so, I was like, wow, this is going to be really, really difficult because I don't even know where to start with this. And it was at that moment that I kind of started noticing things with these kids, that they were all on this app and they were looking at it and they were swiping away, going crazy, and they were just enamored with it. Normally they're on Snapchat, YouTube, Twitter, something like that, and they're just glued to their screens, just swiping away. And I was like, by about the fifth or sixth person I saw, and I was like, what the heck are you guys looking at? What are you using? And it turns out it was this app called TikTok. It was formerly Musically, but that week it had just become an app called TikTok. Musically was an old lip syncing app that was, music related and stuff like that. And so when they told me it was music, I was like, hey, listen, I am not going to just go lip syncing songs. It's kind of weird. I don't know how that's going to really help us. But they said, no, 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 it's not that anymore. It's this thing called TikTok. It's actually more like Vine, which was an old video platform, but 15 seconds instead of 7. And at that time, TikTok was only 15 seconds for people watching 3-minute videos now. And so I looked at it and I said, sure enough, I was like, I could do this. This is actually pretty cool. And so I went down, I sat down and I looked. And then for the first time ever, I started to notice something interesting that I'd never seen on social media before. And that was that everybody was using the same sound and they were copying each other's videos. So it was almost like a game of gotcha or a tag. It was like one person would do it and then somebody else would do it in their version and somebody else would use the song, and it was a skit and it was about yes no, and somebody was doing a couple, or a couple yes no, or with their parent yes no. And that's why I said, okay, well, I'll do a funny one where I am in the orthodontist chair with a patient and they do braces. Can I get my braces off? Yes no. And we went back and forth. And so I made it really quickly. The app was super friendly because you just held down a button and it filmed everything really nicely. There was the first time you could really edit, videos in app like that. And so we posted it and we didn't think anything else of it, because I'm still in Instagram world where you just get one like if you have one follower, and we had 0 followers. So I was expecting to get maybe 10 views, maybe one like. I knew the grind. I've done this before. And the next day, I was at lunchtime and they were like, hey, have you checked our video? And I was like, no, I haven't. Yeah, totally forgot about it. And I pulled it up in the middle of lunch and we were stunned because we had 10 million views, 1 million likes, and 100,000 followers overnight in one night on this West Rock page. And so I said, holy moly, if that's the case, I think there's something here. I think I'm on to something. And all the comments were like, oh my gosh, an adult's here. Oh my gosh, a doctor's doing this. Oh my gosh, this is the coolest doctor ever. And that was because at that time, the app was very young. It was almost all 13-year-olds on the app. And so it just kind of was this perfect experience. I was actually the very first adult and the very first professional that was on the app TikTok. And it was perfect because these kids at age 13, they're all in braces. So it was this perfect storm of these kids that were interested in braces content, that were seeing a doctor do social media for the first time and have access to this doctor, that really blew us up. Now, we continued that further along until basically TikTok noticed us. And actually, I'll go back one slide. You can see here, this group here was actually the very first group of ambassadors for TikTok. So they found basically all the adults on the app. Everybody over 18 was basically on the list. This was everybody from the entire app. And we got to travel the world basically talking to all these other influencers from Instagram and YouTube to try and convince them that TikTok was going to be this big, big thing. And we got to do a lot of really cool stuff. We got to hang out with even people like Marshmello and Chainsmokers and a bunch of them, MTV Music Awards, and all of these cool things, that we got to do. And a lot of these people, even today, are still very large creators in their own right. So it's cool to see them all grow, with me because I knew them at a very young age. But yeah, so we basically became ambassadors for the company. We moved around ever since then, just to keep it short for you guys. We not only grew TikTok and were the very first, influencers on TikTok, but via that, YouTube reached out when they started the Shorts platform and actually had me be one of the very first creators on the YouTube Shorts platform to help grow that. We came in with Instagram Reels and helped them grow that. And so basically, we were on the forefront of this vertical short form style video that really, really blew us up. And ever since then, we've grown like crazy. We've really done a ton of stuff, and we'll get into all that in a little bit. But that's where we started, and that's how I got into social media. And actually, fun fact, we got it up to 500,000 followers on our West Rock Ortho page. And then I went early on and I talked to the owners of West Rock and I said, hey, I have 500,000 followers. I'm getting you guys all these views. I'm getting you guys all these things. Can I get compensated for it? In some way, because I'm doing so much advertising for you guys for free, and this is an amazing opportunity. And they all looked at each other and actually said that there was no reason to monetize it. They said it wasn't really worth anything. They didn't really believe social media would do anything for the office, and they actually denied it. And so at that point, I said, okay, well, I'm just going to completely stop using your 500,000 follower account. I'm going to shut it down and I'm going to start my own account. And I started the Bentist, which, if you don't know, my name is Ben. I was a dentist. The Ben orthodontist didn't sound as good. And so I became the Bentist that day. So if they never would have told me no, I never would have became the Bentist. Now, obviously, I do think they missed out on a huge opportunity there, as you'll see later on. But I wouldn't have became the Bentist without it. So we're going to keep on going. So now, how's it going now? Well, obviously, we kind of talked. We've got millions of followers, over 25 million plus with all of our accounts, and we have couples accounts. I had a gaming account, a reaction account. We really have done a lot in the social media space. So I know a lot about it, and we're going to give you guys some tips and tricks that I think you guys are going to like. So getting back into the flow of things now that you guys kind of understand my story. So, what do you guys do currently, or what do people I see currently in the dental space do? Well, either they have an in house or outsourced social media, or none at all. So, either you're not doing social media, either you have, maybe one of your TCs or your front desk doing your social media. We call that in house. Maybe you have a marketing person yourself that you pay $50,000 a year, $45,000 a year, whatever you guys pay them to be your social media person in your office. That's so there's probably even some social media experts on this call in different offices that are doing this for a dentist and sitting in from their office. And so the real question is it working, or was it working at the time? And the answer is really no, it was not. So what that money was going towards, that we saw time and time and time again, and even some of you guys are going to be like, yeah, that's us, is it really was, you got a random post to Instagram or Facebook, and it was just because you felt like you just had to post. You feel like you're obligated to do the social media thing, so you're just going to throw some stuff out there. And we'll talk about why that's not a good idea later, but that's a lot of what I see people do. And what do you get? You get about 5, 10 likes, maybe from some family members or some past patients. There's not really any engagement. Nobody really cares. You're definitely not getting engagement from new patients that are coming in. And so the other way that I saw it was, instead of doing these crappy posts that aren't getting likes and aren't getting any traction and aren't growing, the other thing was people were putting money behind and ad spend behind their posts. And yeah, they were getting 500 to 2,000 likes now. And maybe they got some new patients for it, but it may cost them $1,000 in ad spend to get a patient referral or something like that. And the problem here is that people are being forced to like it because of paid advertising. You're going to catch somebody eventually if you spread it out to enough people, if you're forcing them to look at it via paid. But it wasn't because it was good content. And that's the problem, is if it's bad content, this is what's going to happen. You're going to get this, 5 to 10 likes. Nobody's going to see it. No one's going to care. And if you're paying people to do it, it's still bad content. If I paid you to eat a really crappy burger, it would still be a crappy burger, but you'd probably eat it if I gave you $100. And so that's kind of the situation that you've got going on here. So what's the dream goal for social media would be, well, you get a ton of views, you get new patients for it. It's easy to use, and specifically, even so, the doctor doesn't even have to do anything if they don't want to. You don't have to outsource and pay these agencies thousands and thousands of dollars a month to do crappy work for you, and you're going to increase your practice revenue. You're actually going to make money because you're bringing in all these new patients. Not only that, but two, your office culture will go up and increase, and be happier too with the dream goal. So first, we need to understand what a viral video is. I'm a big proponent of starting at the basic blocks and kind of moving outwards. So what a viral video is a video that is being shared or viewed across a massive amount of spots or places. It's spread out, really. It's not just 100 people that are watching, 1,000 people. It's millions of people. It's a viral video that you guys see go viral across all social medias, across the interweb. People see it. So but the real question is, you guys know what a viral video is, but why is it a viral video? And that's the science behind the video. So a viral video is really interesting because it's a video that has been watched. Okay. And I know it sounds crazy to say that it's that simple, but it is simply a video with a lot of watch time. So a video, what is watch time? Well, watch time is the amount of time that a video is seen. So if it's 30 seconds, you may see 28 seconds of it. If it's 2 minutes, you may see a minute of it. If it's a 10-second video, some people may watch 2 seconds of it. Some people may watch 7. So that is watch time. So what we see is watch time overall, or watch time percentage, really show that viral video really happened. So these videos that have heavy watch time, that people want to watch all the way through, tend to be the videos that we see go viral. Now, this could be a crazy thing. This could be basically what I started to know was, as I've been going through all of social media and I was going through in these early stages, I started to notice that these these subset of videos kept going viral. And I noticed it was because the watch time pretty early on, because all of these were forcing us to watch to the end. And then after really utilizing the app and kind of using my brain, I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of an engineering brain. I like to put things together and I like to make connections and patterns. And I'm really good at doing that. And so I started to notice that, oh, this style of video is going viral, and this style of video is going viral, and this style of video is going viral. And that is what I like to call a structure. And so structures are basically, interestingly enough, the same across the whole entire media sphere. They use these structures in movies, they use them in comic books, they use them in books, they use them in movies, they use them in TV shows, they use them in YouTube videos, they use them now in shorts and YouTube. And a lot of people don't even realize that they're using these structures. And so what I did was I found about 6 or 7 different structures, and some involved more personality, some involve less personality, some involve you not being on the camera at all, some involve you being on the camera at all. And what I found was I able to kind of find these different structures that all tried and true go viral, which allowed us to put people in structures that fit them, which was really cool. And so just to show you guys a few, and we've already went over one of the structures. Here we have trend, reaction, and procedure. And just to kind of give you guys an understanding of what those structures are that cause the increased watch time, which in turn tend to always go viral, here's a few. So trending was a new one, and it was one that obviously was not used in, it's probably the only one that's not used in traditional media. And a trend was obviously where a song, a dance, a skit, an ice bucket challenge, whatever it is that is going viral across the internet is going on at this time, and you are allowed to hop on to that trend. And the reason why it's watched all the way through and why they go viral is because, well, a ton of people are doing it. They're part of this experience. They want to see how you did it. If somebody did a dance and then I do a dance in my dental office, they know what happens. They want to see it through. They want to finish it. Also, the algorithm tends to boost trends because they allow those trends to move forward. It helps the app. It helps people talk about the app. Trends are kind of the lifeblood, what I call almost the language of the app. What's going on? It's the daily news, what's trending and what's happening. And if you know how to hop on, and we teach you exactly how to hop on it, because if you don't hop on the trend correctly and you miss it and you do it wrongly, you don't go viral. You actually have the opposite. But a structure that we see that goes viral all the time is a trending piece of content, which I'm sure you guys have seen. Now, the other two are very interesting as well. Reaction is the one that I do now. So basically, I take a crazy video in the dental space, and then I react to it and I talk about what happened, why it happened, all that type of stuff. So the reason why a reaction video works so well and why people watch to the end is because normally that first video is already tried and true. You find a viral video to react to. So we already know the video itself is viral. And normally people will have questions about that. So in my area, if it's something crazy about a tonsil stone or something, people are all in the comments saying, what's a tonsil stone? What does this do for you? Does it cause bad breath? What's this? And they have all these questions in the comments. So when I react or create a reaction video to that, the person that's watching this video for the first time may have never seen the original clip. So they see the clip about the tonsil stone, everything like that. And then all of a sudden I pop in right at the second that they're asking, hey, what the heck is a tonsil stone? I pop in and then I get to tell them everything about a tonsil stone. So that really hooks them and gets them to watch a really long period because they have this interesting question and you're coming in immediately and answering it, telling them everything they need to know about everything that they're questioning in a reaction video, which is really, really interesting to see. So those two things work really well in that structure. Another great structure that I love to talk about, because this one is used in TV, specifically the Food Network, is the procedure structure. So I noticed that these videos were going viral that were procedural. And I kind of came up with this term myself, but basically it's a step-by-step video. So think about this. Have you ever been watching or swiping on TikTok and all of a sudden someone's making something out of wood, or they're cooking something, or they're cleaning up a house or whatever, and you're on TikTok and you're halfway through the video and you're like, why the heck am I watching this dude carve a baseball out of soap? And then, but the first thing your body says is, oh, well, I might as well stay to the end and watch it and see how it looks. And so that's when I found that procedure videos were very, very, very viral. And that's why cooking stuff does so well. And process videos or procedural videos do so well on the app. And so I thought to myself, every single one of these structures I've actually done myself. So the trend, I did skits and dancing and whatever the trend was, I tried that. We do reaction videos now because I saw those were doing really well. Procedural videos, when that was getting really big, I said, how can I make what's a procedure I can do in orthodontics that could follow this structure. And so I ended up doing, I thought about making a retainer. I said, oh, I can show how we make a retainer. We can go in and out and do all this and show them mixing it up and doing all the pouring and all that type of stuff. And sure enough, I did the video, we put it out, and just immediately went crazy. Millions of views. I think we got like, 1 to 5 million likes is what we were getting back then, 30, 40 million views. It was crazy. People loved it. And we did a whole series of all these crazy retainers. And we've done all of these structures. We've tested them all out. They all work. That's the crazy part. It's just that they all work. And so that's what a structure is. That's what we teach you, as well as all the different structures we allow. Like, obviously, you can see trends may require some personality out of you, may not, but trends are very easy to film. You just pop in, you do the trend, you get it done in 5 seconds. Reactions, pretty easy to film as well. You don't need anything too crazy, but you can be crazy. But you may need a little bit of a personality. But then again, if you're more of a stern person who just wants to be very professional and button up, people do reactions all the time in that professional setting without the personality. So that may work for you. Procedure, you don't even have to have your face in it. You can go from a point of view and show yourself creating all this retainer and everything else. And you can actually do it without even being on the app itself. Actually, some of my friends that did how they made Subway sandwiches and how they did ice cream scoops actually have millions of followers. Now they have their ice cream shops and Subway franchises across the country just because everybody watched them just making sandwiches or making ice cream without even seeing their face the entire time. So these structures definitely work, and that's basically exactly what we show you. But it's not just the structure, it's how the algorithm works. And so now that you've got this idea of what a viral video is, you've got some ideas of what a structure is. You post that video and then crickets. You're expecting to go viral. You're expecting to be famous overnight, and it doesn't happen for you. And I hate to tell you guys this, but it's way harder now to go viral than it used to be. Whenever I was on the app, it was like the early gold rush. You bend down, you grab a gold nugget, and you walk off. But now you got to dig for the gold a little bit. You got to understand how the process works to be able to do that. If I gave you a fitness, and as I used to be an exercise, physiologist, so that's why I go back to this. But if I gave you a diet plan and you ate really good for one day and you woke up and you expected to see a six-pack abs, you're going to also be very sorely disappointed. And it's very similar. So how does the algorithm work? Well, when you post, it goes through what we call batch posting. And this is how you know how viral your post is. So it will go to an initial 100 people. So out of that 100 people, it will test and it will say, who likes this video? Okay. And if one person likes the video and 99 just swipe away from it, that means it was probably a pretty bad video. Not a lot of people liked it. And so you're only going to get about 80, 50 views, 100 views, and that'll be about it. But say 80 people like that video. 80 people watch that video and had the watch time go through. They don't even have to like it or comment. It's just, did they watch it or did they not? Because some people they're not commenters and likers. They're just watchers. And so say you got through 80 of that. Well, then all of a sudden you pass the test. You go from the 1 to 100 and you go to the 1 to 1,000. So now you go to the 1,000. And out of that 1,000, maybe 600 people view it, or 700 people actually like it and interact with it and view it. And then the algorithm says, oh, that's a pretty good video. Let's send it up the web to 10,000 views. And then it goes to 100,000 views and 1,000,000 views and 10 million views and 100 million views. The viralest of viral, broadest things are going to be the things that get to that million, 10 million, 100 million. Now, those are very rare because you have to have a video that's good, that's also broad enough that enough people want to see it, right? And so if you have all these things together, then you will have a successful viral video. But it's interesting, if you always get 1,000 views, you have to tell yourself, okay, well, I'm not making a video good enough for 10,000 people to see it. I'm not doing enough to get to that 100,000 and then in the million. And so that's why I always tell people, watch, study, use TikTok, use Instagram, use YouTube shorts and see what's doing really well and try and mimic that. And that's what we kind of teach you how to do, is kind of find this content, what we call the yoink and twist. Find the different things and themes and stuff that's working for you and put it back into the stuff that you're doing, and you're going to be very successful. Another thing is consistency with the posting. So we just talked about a little bit, if you diet once, you're not going to get the effect. If you diet over time consistently, you're going to get that six pack. And it's the same exact thing in social media. But the problem is I see a big issue with people burning out. And so people always ask me, how often should I post? Well, the answer is you should post as much as humanly possible that you can consistently do forever. If I told you you have to choose a number right now, that's one post a week, two posts a week, five posts a week, three posts a week, but you have to do it every single week and you can never stop or waver from that. What is that number? Because to see that they like trust in the algorithm, they want to see consistency, they want to see that you show up, they want to see that you're a part of it, they want to see that you post once, don't post for 2 weeks, post once, don't post for 2 weeks. And the reason is because the algorithms move really quickly and people will fall off and come back and fall off and come back. And so if you're not posting, people aren't seeing you, they're not realizing, they're not actively looking at your stuff, and you're just kind of falling by the wayside. So if you post something, maybe 100 people view it, but then if you post again later that week, maybe those 100 people that initially saw you may get served your video again, but a new 100 may. And then you can kind of snowball, grow your way upwards. But if you have 1,000 people looking at your videos and then you don't post for a month, well, they go on to finding other likes and other things that are happening and other things, and then you may never get served those people ever again because you're out of sight, out of mind, and then your thing can be really badly. Another thing that I see is that they feel like they should post every day, so they just have to post, have to post, have to post, and then obviously they get burnt out, they run out of ideas, and they do what I call stop making good content. Okay, and so not only should you post as much as you could, every week that you can consistently for life, but it has to be good content that follows our rules, follows the structures, follows the stuff. Because here's the thing, if you opened up a burger restaurant, right, and you made a really good burger, and I came back the next day and you're selling me a fish sandwich, or you're selling me a burger that's raw in the middle, I'm going to stop coming to your place because I came for the good burger. I just got done watching somebody jump off the Eiffel Tower parachuting, in between two giant flame circles. And if I see your video that's crappy, that you didn't put any time and effort into because you just thought, oh, I need to rush something out because I got to post something, no one's going to come into that. And then in the end, the algorithm is going to harm you for that and penalize you for that. And basically say, well, if they're not going to do good content, they're not going to be consistent, they're not going to follow the rules, we're not going to show them. And that's how people really fall into that trap of not having some good consistency there with good content. So it's got to be good content. It's got to be good consistency. It's got to be in a structure format that makes sense, that's viral, that gets a lot of watch time, and you're going to have a lot of success. So let's talk about social media as a health professional. So if you're doing this, obviously, social media, I don't expect all of you guys to become 25 million plus follower people in whatever, but that's actually not the point. The point is that if you're an orthodontist office or a dental office, you're competing with everybody in just your town. So I bet you if I go to Poto, Oklahoma right now, I go back to Poto, Oklahoma, I bet you my competitor has maybe a social media account with crappy Facebook posts that have maybe 500 followers on it. It's a very low bar to surpass in these things. Okay. So people are on social media more than ever right now. Okay. It's not the old school way that we used to do things. It's not, people finding you in ads in the newspaper, or, the PTA moms, telling everybody, or the local church, or the community. Now you do still have parts of that, and it is still a valuable part, but it's just not the main way that people find people anymore. Most people are on social media. More than 90% are more likely to go to an office that has more 5-star reviews or reviews on Google or followers on social media. And now what we're finding is people are actually searching through TikTok to find their orthodontist, or through Instagram to find their dentist or surgeon or whatever it is. And so if you're not out there, you're out of sight, out of mind, and you're just going to fall by the wayside, and your office is just going to completely wither away eventually, because all of those things are going to dry up because you're just not part of this new medium. The new town square is here and you're not part of it. Also, another great thing about having videos and social media is people can sense the fun in your office and the environment prior to your appointment. People are seeing you in the office. Even if you're not dancing or doing anything crazy, they can see your office on video versus a static Instagram post or a clip art thing that says, hey, come to our office. No, you don't get anything out of it. You don't get any, you can't see the employees. You can't see the doctor. You can't see the personality. You can't see the way the office is decorated. And so we find that people really can see the fun of the office before they come in, which allows them to connect on a really deeper level with your office and your doctor and your staff, not only before they come in, but even after they come in, because they see you doing the trends, they see you doing the fun stuff, and they're like, oh my gosh, our orthodontist office is so cool. They're so hip. They know exactly what's going on. So it really is a super important thing. Another thing is it's really easy to educate your entire patient base. One of the things that I totally did not realize was that the amount of education I was putting out there was really affecting everybody. So I get calls from dentists probably daily that say, Dr. Winters, I can't, this kid came in and told me this or knew this before this and wasn't scared of this treatment because he already had heard it from you, and he knows exactly what to do, and he knows not to do this, knows to brush his teeth twice a day, and all these things. And so you can educate your patient base really quickly, because if they're following you and they're looking at your stuff, well, they're going to see your videos. And so if you want to educate them on something, you want to talk about something happening, you want to talk about expanders or whatever it is, you have this now medium that you can talk to your patients directly. Now, before, what were you going to do? You'd be like, hey, we're going to have a cookout and everybody come here and maybe I can talk to you, or maybe I send out a newsletter, or maybe an email and that nobody checks anymore, or some direct mailers that people throw away. So you can do a lot of really cool stuff. Another thing that you can do out is you can get information out quickly. You can say whether there's a closed office or a giveaway. I wouldn't put this as a main video because, like I said, you want to have good quality videos. And if I'm somebody randomly on the app that's watching somebody jump out of the Empire State Building, and then I just see your thing saying you're closed for the day, that's not interesting to the normal person. So keep it out of the actual video feed, but you can message everybody via that, or you can do a picture post on Instagram. Now they have like little group messaging groups that you can say, hey, all patients are required to join our messaging group on Instagram. And that will be where all of our updates will get pushed immediately to see if we're closed or not closed. And they'll all get notified via their social media that you're closed. It's amazing. And patients just feel more invested. Like I said, they're going to see you doing the content. They're going to see you doing the trends that they're doing with their friends and having fun. And it's just going to be a blast for them. Also, very easy to sell treatment because they're coming in, they're already, enamored with you, what you're doing. They're already educated by you, and they are ready to sign on the dotted line. I don't think it's the easiest job in the world for my treatment coordinators because they want to be here. It's not the other way. I'm not selling them. They're wanting to be a patient of ours. So basically, we talked a lot about what's going on in the past, and all those people at West Rock, unfortunately did say, we don't think that this is going to help our practice. We don't think social media is going to grow. How many of these millions of views that you're getting, or these 500,000 followers, are in Bentonville, Arkansas? And how is that ever going to help us? It's not. There's no way, and we don't care. And so I kept doing it, and I kept doing it under the Bentist and growing it. And we were the worst office in all of the state of Arkansas when I got there. Terrible patients led, borderline malpractice treatment from past companies and orthodontists. No dentist wanted us around. And that was the start. 1 year later, we won the best office in all of Arkansas. We won the best orthodontics office in all of Arkansas, beating out every private practice there was. And they all looked at us like we were crazy. How could a corporate orthodontics office that used to be the worst office in the world win the best orthodontics office in the state of Arkansas? And that was because of social media. What we did, we turned it around. Now, obviously, I'm going to pat myself on the back. It takes a really good technical orthodontist to solve the issues on the patient side as well, which is what we did. We had to debond 15 plus people a day, and we helped so many people. And luckily, the people at West Rock were amazing and courteous and kind, and they were putting implants back in patients and helping them with jaw surgery, helping them cover costs of all the stuff that the past people that we purchased from were doing wrong. But the social media brought people in, it got them excited. This team right here, I know they seem kind of funny here. They were miserable when I showed up. They hated life. They didn't want to be a part of it. They didn't want to show up to work. They felt like they were doing bad and harm to the patient. By the end of the year, they're happy. They're excited. They wanted to be, at the office. They've all gone on to actually do bigger and better things, being higher up managers and all these things because of what we did. And in 1 year, with just as little as we were doing there, I mean, we were doing a lot, but we were doing a little there, we became the best office in all of Arkansas, which was really, really cool. And where am I at now? Well, we ended up moving away, from that company because I knew that, I wanted to do something big for myself. So now we are in Windcrest office in Plano, Texas. And we've been here for 4+ years. Our first year, we got up to 750,000 in revenue with no referrals at all. Completely direct to consumer marketing. We didn't even do a paid ad that first year. And basically, all we did was TikTok and social media on Windcrest, and we grew it and we did whatever. We did take a year or two off to where I just basically stopped seeing patients because our social media grew so much, and we actually were using the office as a studio and to see the patients that just absolutely had to come see us, that were begging me to see them. But for the past year or two, we have gotten back into it. We hired an associate. We're growing like crazy. And the crazy part is we don't even really focus on referrals at all. It's direct to consumer marketing via organic or paid ads through social media. Our patients are having a blast. They're having fun. They come in asking for pictures immediately, or to see Dr. John, who's in the videos too. And they're literally not only sold, but they are, like I said, they're educated. They know about braces. They know what's going on. They know if they need this. The crazy thing is compliance. I bet you we are probably one of the most compliant offices in all of the United States. If I tell them to wear rubber bands, they wear them. If I tell them not to break brackets, they won't break brackets because they are educated. They understand why they need to do that. And it is all 100% guaranteed from social media. Now, obviously, I get great results and I'm a great orthodontist, but you got to get them in the door to know that you're a great orthodontist. And it has been just a life changer for us, a blessing. It's been amazing for us. So it 100% does work. Also, it doesn't just work for orthodontics offices, it works for other companies as well. We started something nice that 4 or 5 years ago as well. This was early on when we just had a simple toothbrush where we were buying one and giving one. And now we actually just got an award from Shopify for our 100,000th order on something nice. Now we have the leading products in oral care on water flossers and toothpaste, and we're working on a bunch of really cool stuff with biotech I can't talk about, but that will be coming out later this week or later this year, and you'll see a lot of something nice in the future. I promise that. But it has allowed me to do everything, and it's the same process whether it's an e-com business or an office or a family business or whatever. The same stuff applies to everything. That's the beauty. You don't have to be a dentist to do this. It's anything in the world works using these strategies. Speaking of using these strategies, sorry, this one's covered up here. I don't know why this is over there. Let me go back here. But oh no, it covers up his following here. Um, that's too bad. I don't know why this is here, but these are some different people that started. These are some dentists that have used ours. Now you're going to see there's different approaches on this type of stuff. So some people are really good at the diet plan and working out. Some people are amazing. Dr. Manzella over here, he did everything perfect. He did everything I asked for. He was consistent, making good content all the time. And he's at 90,000 followers now. And he has said multiple, I mean, look at these views down here, 20 million views on a video, 20 million views, 8 million views on a video. And he has really grown as an office. He says the patients are loving it. He's having more and more people come in from his videos. He said his inorganic ad videos are doing amazing too because he knows how to make a good ad. Obviously, and then you have other people that do really good that, maybe let all of these people have done good in their own rights, and they're probably way more ahead of everybody in their town, and they're doing amazing on that. And even 4,000 followers is great with the different views you have. But all of these people worked in different stages. So the amount of work you put into it is the amount of effort you get. And I wish you could see right here, but this is actually my friend Josh New. He's a dietitian, and I don't know why this word is in the way, but he actually has over 500,000 followers completely due to using Busy. He didn't know what to do. I saw him. He's a good friend of mine. He actually was my roommate in college, and I wanted to see if this stuff would work outside of the dental field just to test it with him. And I said, hey, you're a dietitian, why don't you try this? Use Busy, follow it along, see what you've got. And he did it, and now I think he has over 500,000 followers now, which is absolutely crazy. And yeah, he basically calls me weekly telling me that I changed his life and thank you so much. And he has all these people coming and he's making all this money. And it's really cool to see people that use Busy, have that success with it. And you will too if you put the work in. Just like dieting, working out, all that type of stuff, you will get the work that you put into it. All I can do is give you the information and how to do it, and it's up to you to put in the work on it. So once again, do your post on Instagram, Facebook, everything look like this? Are you one of the dreaded people who put stuff just like papers of this clip art? Hey, we're going to be closed today. Are you serving crappy hamburgers? Well, there's a reason no one's eating at your restaurant. Okay. We want you to have videos like this and views like this. This was Avenue South that we talked about, the 3,000 follower guy earlier. He has more on TikTok. You can see 5,000 views, 10,000 views, 3,000 views. These are all, how much would you pay to get in front of 10,000 people in your town or geolocation? You would pay a ton of money to be in front of that many people. And he's doing this, he's having fun, and he's getting views doing it. And look at this. Does this not show off the office, his smiles, his team, what he's doing, his fun versus this? What are you going to get out of that? Absolutely nothing. And so here are some people that are, obviously here was Josh, the guy who has 500,000 followers. He said, as someone who avoided building his personal brand for many years, which I know that's a lot of you, I knew this was extremely important for growing my business. I gained access to Busy. He felt authentic. He helped us grow his business. It made it easy for him to find his voice online, attract more engaged followers, and amplify his message. And now he's crushing. He's one of the top dietitians on all social media. And he did that in a year, by the way. He only did that in a year. Now, he worked really hard. And it took him 3 months to get that initial traction. But once he got that traction, he kept going and he killed it. You know, Dr. Manzella, another one. I love this one. He said he had great success with his social media ads, community engagement. The money spent on Busy paid for itself 4 times over, and it only was a year. Recommend this course to anyone looking to stand out in the community and improve their office culture as a secondary benefit. So all of these guys, this is another one great from Dr. Allen here. He did not want to be on the stuff. And basically he said, the best part is my team does the work. I just focus on excellent patient care and empower to build my online brand, which is the truth. We want you to almost not use this as a doctor. We want your team to use this, grow it, learn it, build it. And then if you want to be a part of it, cool. But you only have to be a part of it that exact moment that you got to be a part of it. And then you can not worry about the posting, the editing, the finding the content, all the stuff. We want your team to do that for you. So a lot of great success stories here. And it's cool that now we've had people that have gone through this course to actually have some, data, about how good it works. So, um, before Busy, we were struggling to find our voice online, figure out how to attract audience. Busy gave us tools and we put them to use and got great results. We attracted a larger audience. Our patients recognize us through social media. It's been a good resource. And that was the guy with only 1,300 followers or 2,000 followers. And even with 2,000 followers, you're going to be sending this content out to your local. That's another thing in the posting. They do send it out locally in your geographic area code because obviously people are more connected to people in your area code. So just by posting, you're getting free ads for your office. You're getting your stuff. It's basically like sending a free postcard out to everybody in your town. So it does work. I know it works. I've got billions and billions of views to prove it. I've had friends get billions and billions of views to prove it. I've done this in gaming. I've done it in business. I've done it in e-com. I've done it in couples channels. I've done it for my wife. I've done it for dietitians. So basically it works. And I can't wait. If you are interested in this social media wise, and you're somebody who is like these people struggling to find your voice online, how you even do it, you want to do it, you have to do it, but you want to do it the correct way. Then Busy is going to be for you. And luckily for you guys, we do have a special offer here on this webinar only. We're going to give you 20% off, which we've actually never given a discount like that before. So we're going to give you 20% off on Busy if you sign up through this webinar. You can redeem at getbusy.social, not getbusy.com. It's getbusy.social. And you can use the code busy20 with a capital B. And I believe this QR code potentially would send you to the site as well. But you can go to getbusy.social and you can use that code busy20 and you can learn yourself how to actually do social media the correct way, find the structures, figure out which ones you fit in, and then get started with your team making some content, because you're never going to get that six pack if you don't go into day one eating healthy and working out. And so, but like I said, you don't have to become the Bentist. You don't have to be this crazy guy online. You can be quiet. You can be reserved. You don't even have to have. We have a friend named Orthotrix who has millions of followers, and all he does is show in the mouth videos, of a procedural structure that we talked about, getting braces on and off, or putting the power chain on and off, or screwing in a tad. And he chose procedure because he didn't want to be in there, and he's had great success with that. I totally forgot about him as well. So I'm excited for you guys to get. I'm excited for you guys to learn, start your social media journey, and hopefully this webinar was a little interesting for you. You learned a little bit, and I appreciate you guys for hopping in and spending your time in your day listening to what I have to say. So that's pretty much everything that I've got, Taylor. So yeah.
That was so great. Thank you for joining us today, Dr. Winters. And don't forget, everybody, to get 20% off, go to getbusy.social, scan that QR code, and enter busy20 at checkout. Again, thank you, Dr. Winters, for coming on, and hope everyone here has taken away something from this presentation and you can start getting to work on your content.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
All right, have a great day.
You too.